Welcome to our lesson of today. It's about food that we eat and what happens to this food when we eat it. Somebody said, you are what you eat. But is it true? It should be right. Because a small kid, when he or she fails to eat, will not grow. So they only grow when they eat. It means when you eat good food, you will grow, you look healthy, and nice, of course. But when you don't eat good food, there'll be a problem. You'll be thin, and you'll not be very healthy. You'll easily suffer from diseases. But how does the food that you eat help you to be what you are? How does it help you to be healthy? How does it help you to grow? Now, whenever you eat, the food goes through certain steps. The first step is the food must be taken into the body. Now, the process of taking the food into your body is called ingestion. I repeat, ingestion. But once you take the food into the body, what happens to it? And you see straight away I'm already doing it. So you begin to chew the food. And when you chew the food, you break the big food particles into smaller particles. And that begins the second process, the process of digestion. Now, if you have a corn, seed of a corn, or if you have an apple, this apple, when you bite it, it's a big size. But inside the body, the apple will be broken into small particles, as you can see. This process of breaking down the apple into small particles is the process of digestion. Why do we do that? Because the system is like a tube with tiny holes. For these particles to break through, to enter through the tube and get into your body, they should be in small sizes. Therefore, the big apple must be broken into small sizes so that they are able to pass through the small holes in the tube and get into your body. And this takes us to the third process, the process of absorption. But as you can see from here, it's not everything that you eat which gets absorbed. Even if they are broken down into small particles, not all the particles are going to be of the same size. Some will be small, while others will remain big. It is the small ones which can pass through the tube and enter into your body. That is what we call absorption. In the process of absorption, the small particles from the process of digestion are taken into the body. And it is those particles which are later used by your body. So when you see your skin very smooth, when you see your child growing up, it means the particles the person ate are being taken into the body by a process called absorption. Now, the last thing, what happens to the food that cannot be absorbed? Of course, as it moves here, it must go to the last part of the system. And this is something you always do. You don't need to shy away from it. This food comes out in form of feces. And let me tell you one thing. Some people say feces is bad. If somebody fails to pass out feces for 2 days, that person will be sick. He'll begin to complain, hey, by the way, he needs to pass feces. So, passing out feces actually shows that you are very normal. Now, the process of passing out feces is the last process called digestion. So, digestion is the process of removing what could not be absorbed into the body. So, as we conclude this lesson, we are looking at 4 main steps or processes that either take food into the body or that the food goes through when we take it in. The first process is taking in of the food. It is called ingestion. Remember, it is not digestion, it is ingestion. Once the food is ingested or once the food is taken into the body, the food should be broken down into small particles. Why? So that the particles can be absorbed into the body. Now, the process of breaking down this food into the small particles is the process of digestion. The third important step is this. When the food gets digested, for us to use it, the particles must enter into the body. And I told you, the system is like a tube with small holes. Now, the small particles, the process of the small particles passing through the tube into the body is the process of absorption. And finally, these are the funny things you ate which could not be digested. What happens to them? They all come out through the process called digestion. And they leave this body through the last part of the system called the anus. Thank you very much. Wish you the best until we meet again.